lifetime for you to experience Branson. Right now, you can get a 3-day, 2-night package for only $79 total. We're even including 4 free Branson show tickets. Call the special Branson hotline number right now to learn more. 800-497-7198. 800-497-7198. If you've never been to Branson, Missouri, come visit and see what we have to offer. Beautiful lakes, casual and upscale restaurants, tons of shows and activities for everyone. And for $79 total, you can't beat it. So pick up your phone right now and call the Branson Travel Hotline. Claim your 3-day, 2-night package plus 4 free show tickets for only $79 total. Call now. 800-497-7198. That's 800-497-7198.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. That's 800-401-5163.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to sell and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with need to sell my home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time and call for this 100% free quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674.
Now, more of Ring Talk with Pedro Fernandez.
First question for Socrates Palmer out of the break is, when you're a minus 10,000 favorite, is that like 1,000 to 1 odds?
When you're minus 10,000 favorite?
If you're a minus 10,000 favorite, is that 1,000 to 1?
Wouldn't that be?
10,000 to 1?
Something like
No, I don't think it would be 10,000 to 1. Is anybody smart enough out there to figure this out? I'm looking in the other room here. I'm looking at Daniel. Daniel's got a calculator in his hand. He can't figure it out, okay? Boy, come on, Sock. You're boxing's PhD. Figure that one out for me.
My name is Greek, but I'm not Jimmy the Greek.
Don't get it there. Nobody's talking Greek on this show. Anyway, anyway, a minus 10,000 favorite. And this guy, Thomas Select, the stiff, is a plus 1,400 underdog. That's, I would think, I thought 1,000 to 1. I thought when it was 1,000, it was $100 because 1,000 was for every 10. So this is like, anyway, that's long odds. Anyway, that's how much favorite Richard Torrez is. Of course, Richard Torrez, I think you said this on the Friday night show with Tommy D. He couldn't draw 6 people. If you put butter on him, he couldn't. The bees wouldn't come. He has no drawing power at all. None.
No, look, I think he's very limited. He fights fun, right? He comes right at you. He's winging hooks. But he's a less talented Tommy Morrison. That's how I kind of look at him.
Yeah, I was talking with Tony Holden a few weeks ago. Tony Holden was Tommy Morrison's close friend and his boxing promoter. Of course, he was the guy that brought me and Bert Sugar in to do the TV for the Tommy Morrison Razor Ruddock fight and this and he tells me that Tommy had HIV a long time before, anybody really knew it, because he saw it in his performances, his inability to train and things like that. He thought the virus was there. So that, of course, and you've got Tommy Morrison's last wife or last spouse saying he died of a bad tonsil operation or something like that. In other words, had nothing to do with HIV or anything like that. And poor Tommy, I will say this, he died horribly at the end. That was a horrible way to go. Last time I saw him, he was laying on a bed in St. Louis, Missouri, in a Hyatt hotel in the penthouse, laying on a bed getting his eye stitched after the Razor Ruddock fight.
That was quite a war. I remember, he pulled out that knockout.
But Steve Smoger was a referee, and I think he pulled the trigger quick on Razor Ruddock. I think they gave Tommy Morrison that fight. I thought I was doing the TV. I was blown away at the stoppage.
Maybe he got the benefits out, but I mean, he did drop him like out of nowhere.
No. And you know what I said on TV with Bert Sugar? Can I say this on the radio? Spit with an H. That's what I said. Holy spit. Okay? And of course, you can catch it on YouTube somewhere, I believe. But the bottom line is, I was like blown away by it. It was a great punch. But he got up. And he got up, and he got up relatively quick. And I thought that Steve Smoger just stopped that a little bit quick. I think Steve Smoger was a house referee on a lot of occasions. Of course, he was a guy that was a judge in the state of Pennsylvania, and they took away his judgeship because of the fact that he was racist. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Is that crazy? And he was able to do boxing matches. No, when I say racist, what I'm trying to say is they took away his judgeship because he was getting, when a black guy got arrested for a red light, he got to pay $300. He was forced to pay $300 for the ticket. Now, when a white guy got arrested for the same ticket, he would get $50 or $100, and it was. I mean, this was a pattern over the years, and they don't remove you from a judgeship for nothing.
Yeah, it goes to show you never really know people. Because I mean, as far as if you were a fight fan, you like Steve Smoger. I mean, it was kind of like to the death. He let guys fight. And I had met him a couple of times. He's pleasant, but you never know.
Okay. He let people fight. How come he pulled the trigger that quick on the Razor Ruddock fight? Boom! It was over.
Well, maybe it's just ironic that Tommy happened to be white. Maybe it's just coincidence.
Okay. What do you know? I guess I'll get into this with you, and I'll go in another direction later. Dana White and his people settled a lawsuit. Actually, they proposed a settlement for $394 million. I think it ended up being $251 million for distribution, but this is not the first lawsuit. Evidently, there's 2 or 3 more settlements coming up down the line, according to the former UFC fighter Luke Rockhold. But, man, Dana, let me tell you this. You know the creepy relationship I had with Dana. I had a contract. I'll be honest with you. I had a contract. It was $4,000 a month in advertising for the UFC. I started my own show called the Octagon Talk. Instead of Ring Talk, it was Octagon Talk. So we did nothing but Octagon Talk on a radio network, the whole 9 yards. Had 2 stations in Vegas, doing all this kind of stuff for the UFC. And 3 months into this $4,000 a month deal, Dana comes to me and says, "We got to cut your deal. Restructure your deal." So I'm saying, man, I'll restructure for like 10%, maybe 15%. So I'm like, I'm thinking, what's he going to come at me with? He came at me with a 75% pay cut. He wanted me to go from $4,000 a month to $1,000 a month to $1,000 a month for life. I told him, no. And he told me, grumble. I said, no, man. You have a contract. I expect you to live up to it. We've talked one time since then. That was in Sacramento, California, and that was just in passing. In other words, I think he's the worst human being to come along in the world of combat sports, and that means boxing, MMA, all that kind of good stuff. Maybe in its history. The people are going to look back at him and realize what a pimp he was. And that's my opinion. And, of course, being a former cop, I know what a pimp is. Pimp is a guy that hoes out women. Well, guess what? He's hoeing out these fighters because if you've got a guy that fights in the UFC prelims and they give him $20,000 for the fight and it's $20,000 if he wins, okay, so that's $40,000. How long you can't fight again in 2 or 3 weeks. It's not like in boxing. You can go maybe have another fight in a month or something like that. You can't do it. Your body just can't do it. So maybe you fight 2 times a year. If you don't win, you're screwed. You've made $40,000. If you win, you made $80,000. But what can you do with $80,000? Of course, these guys, for the most part, are fighting 2 to 3 times a year, and they're not making any money. Dana's screwing them. And, of course, Dana's got these contracts where if you sign with him, you can't do anything else. You can't have any advertisements on your back. Remember those guys used to have, like, Pedro's bail bonds on the back of their the back of their tattoo to the back of their, in the UFC. I mean, I wasn't big on that kind of good stuff, but I was big on Pedro's bail bonds. No, but I wasn't big on that type of advertising. But the whole point is these guys were making money, and Dana took away their ability to make money and put them in Adidas suits, red and blue.
Yeah. No, and you have to wear their gear. Whatever sponsor. You see these guys. A lot of them wear that crypto shirt that he's got something to do with, who's a big sponsor. Stitch Duran, if it's one person saying it, okay, that's a personal beef. No, there's a lot of people that have real negative stories, about Dana
I'm
White.
glad you brought up Stitch Duran. Stitch Duran will be appearing on the Sunday edition of Ring Talk Live worldwide. That's tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 11:06 a.m. Pacific time, 2:06 p.m. Eastern time. That's live tomorrow on Sports Byline, iHeartRadio, and like 1,000 other 1,000 other platforms. But the bottom line is Stitch will be here tomorrow. Of course, Stitch and I go back to our infancy. You know that he worked a couple of my corners.
Really? He kept you pretty?
No, he didn't keep me pretty. I kept him in work. Big difference. You like that? How I turned the tables there?
I like that.
Yeah.
You did. That was slick. Yeah.
But no. Listen, I remember one time he was in my corner in Sacramento. We're in Sacramento, California, and these guys told me Skip Lesperance was in the corner with him, and Skip, may he rest in peace. So anyway, after I go out there and I'm beating this dude's butt for 2 rounds. I mean, I'm whooping him so bad. I'm saying to myself, man, this is pretty. I was saying this is pretty. I'm saying to myself, this is pretty easy. I'm gleeful. I'm glad this is like gleeful, right? So I come back for the second round. They go, listen, man, you're losing. I said, huh? He goes, yeah, man, you're losing. You need to go out there and finish this dude. So anyway, I went out there and I finished him. I came back and I won every round and every scorecard. I said to myself, why did you guys tell me this? He goes, the guy wasn't in your league. We wanted you to get rid of him. We wanted to go back and wrap somebody else's hands. He wanted to go back and wrap Mario's hands. That's what Skip Lesperance told me. But Stitch Duran was in the corner. I think it was one of the times Stitch was in the corner. I think he was in Stockton, California. And I don't know. Did you see what Roberto Duran did to Wilfred Benitez after he beat Leonard there in Montreal when he went over to Benitez ringside and grabbed a certain part of his body and squeezed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did that, and I got into a little bit of trouble down there in Central California doing that. So I won. They were terrible. They were throwing stuff in the ring, and I just gave them the old look at this type of thing, and they went crazy. I mean, they went absolutely berserk. So I think it was the only time I fought in Stockton. Never went back to Stockton after that. In fact, I think if I went back to Stockton, they would have killed me. Now, Chris Eubank and Conor Benn. And Chris Eubank is a bigger fighter. Size-wise, size matters in a lot of things, pornography and combat sports, and size matters for the most part in boxing. Now, Conor Benn is a guy that fought Chris Eubank, a much smaller guy, fought him at a higher weight, and of course that was at 12 rounds, and Tommy D was all in for that 12 rounds. And I said that if that was a 10-round fight, Conor Benn would have won. You think I was right?
Eubank needed those 3 rounds. I can lean that way. That was a really good fight.
No. I get that. But when you're outsized, you got to have some. You got to cut the corner somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You've got the corner, cut the corner. That's why it should have been a 10-round fight.
Yeah, I mean, but it was built up as a main event. It's kind of hard these days, but I get it. It wasn't for a title. It should have been. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys have lost I think this 12-round era. You guys have lost the novelty of the 10-round fight. I mean, 10-round fight is not like it's not like going to recess. It's still 10 rounds.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think a 12-round fight should only be for world championship fights. I think with the 10-round fight, you'll get more action because you have less time. Obviously, I agree. Look, and we also always advocating for fighter safety. There's a lot of fights that I watch. I'm like, these are 12 rounds, especially if it's like the undercard of a pay-per-view, or and you're like, wow, I got to sit through this 12 rounds, and it's not even a title fight. So, I'm on board with you on that. But I'm looking forward to today's rematch. I mean, there is bad blood. Obviously, the legacies of the fathers, that they built, and the sons of, they haven't matched it, but at least, they put on good drama when they were in the ring together. So I expect a good one.
Chris Eubank Sr. came up to me one time wearing a monocle. You know what a monocle is?
I have an idea. Yeah.
It's a instead of having glasses, you just put